You do not have to move to bait casting gear if you're not ready to or you don't want to. Spinning rod is more than capable of handling that. A lot of times it's simple as upgrading your line diameter to handle those bigger baits and bigger lures. But then you can also, it has the versatility to downgrade your line so you can go ultra finesse when you want to. You can do everything with a spinning rod. You can do it till you get started. As you get more advanced, you'll find the advantages of the bait caster for the bigger lures and the bigger presentations, and you can move in that direction if you want to. If you want to. Many people will spend a lot of their fishing, their whole lives, with this rod and reel setup right here. And even the pros. Interesting comment, Joey Cifuentes. Joey Cifuentes. I always struggle with that. It's a tricky one, but he's a great angler, the cowboy. That's what we should just call him. A lot easier that way. 90% of the fish he's weighing in professional tournaments are done with a spinning rod and reel combination. He's winning blue trophies. So that speaks volumes, guys. You can get it all done with this rod and reel setup right here. Now, this is a 7-foot medium heavy Icon spinning reel. Let me get that straight for you. This is the rod that I recommend getting started with. Now this is a Cashin Icon. That's great. There's every single rod company has the same length and the same action. You're talking about a 7-foot medium heavy action. This is a great all-around rod and reel combination. You can do so many different things with it, from throwing a Texas rig to throwing a stick bait, shaky head. And you can also get away with throwing like crankbaits and a variety, jerk baits. So many things that can be done with this rod and reel combination. The length is great because it's going to allow you for long casts. The length is also going to really be helpful when it comes to keeping pressure on a fish, but it's not too long. It's not 7.5 or 8 foot where it's a little too cumbersome, like in the scenario where I was talking about before, where you're maybe fishing from the bank and you're in tight quarters. It's a great all-around length. If you had to pick one rod, this is the one that I'm going to pick. So 7-foot medium heavy action. Now when it comes to reels, there's a preference here, and I'll see a variety of guys at Bass University will go up or down in size. And for me, the 4000 is my preferred size. And the reason for that is I like the bigger spool, as I'm pointing right at you. The bigger spool diameter is really, really important because it manages the line very efficiently. Less line twist and further casting distance. I love the bigger spools. One of the other real big advantages are when you're fishing in shallow water and a fish is coming towards you and you really need to pick that line up fast. That bigger spool, the bigger reel, can move that line a lot quicker to keep pressure on that fish. So I like the bigger reels. Here's the disadvantages. They weigh a little bit more, so you get a little bit of rod fatigue, shoulder fatigue possibly, but the new reels are so light that it's not really much of a factor for me, but a lot of guys like the 3000s and even the 2000s on their spinning reels. It makes the rod and reel a lot lighter and a little bit smaller profile. But for me, I'm choosing the 4000. I highly recommend that deal. Now, I'm Cortland braided line. I use braided line. Cortland braided line is something that I love to use at Bass University. Bass University, you can get discounts on the Cashin fishing rods as well as the Cortland fishing line. So you want to go check that out at the members benefits. But I recommend using braided line as your main line on your spinning rod and reel. A lot of times I'll put a fresh spool of Cortland braided line on in the spring of the year and I will not re-spool all year long. And that's tremendous. That's very efficient, very inexpensive. The braided line in general is more of the pricey end of fishing lines, but the fact that you can spool up once and you're done with it for the year, it makes it extremely cost effective. I'm using typically 10 to 15 pound tests. If I had to pick the most versatile on a spinning rod and reel combination, it's going to be 10 pound test. That's what I'm going to recommend getting started with. This is going to be my main line, and then I'm going to tie a leader. This is a fluorocarbon leader. I use a lot of gamma fluorocarbon. It's just such tough line, but I like to use the leader for line visibility purposes. I feel like it gets a lot more bites. So I'm tying a fluorocarbon leader to a main braided line. About a 4 or 5 foot length is my leader. I recommend doing that. Now you can go braid direct for